we actually thought about this question a lot in terms of breadth versus depth of the study tour experience. And before we even launched the first tour to Vietnam, I talked with a number of students about what opportunities presented themselves and the different models that we could use to cover a country like Vietnam. And the general consensus among the people that I talked with was, we want to see the whole country. And that does present some challenges when you're talking about a country that's about, Vietnam is a sort of a small country in the sense of being relatively narrow, but it's long, and it takes a long time to get, from the north to the south. And so we did spend that first year, we bounced around a fair amount. We saw 27 institutions and stayed in a number of different places. The next year we cut it back a little bit, and this year we're going to do even more, a little bit more cutting back, so that we're a little bit more, we're staying a little longer in different places, but we're not seeing quite as many places. But still, Vietnam is made up of at least 3 distinctly different portions: the north, the central, and the south, the Mekong Delta, and they're all quite different. They have different kinds of ethnicities associated with them and different kinds of cultural influences. And so it really becomes important for students to have that kind of experience. The other 2 things that I would say in general about all of the trips is that these are group experiences. And you go together as a group. And so what I found out with our Vietnam group is that our students were learning as much about being with one another as they were with being people who are quite different and living in a quite different place. Being that close together for that long of a period of time creates some interesting dynamics among people. And so that in and of itself becomes part of what we process in our debriefing sessions. So that's a really important piece to keep in mind, is that this is going to be a 24/7 experience for people who you probably have seen maybe never. And if you have seen them before, you see them occasionally in a college or something. So that's going to be an important piece. And then finally, the transitions part. That became an interesting pedagogical tool for us, because we began to realize that we were in transition a lot, right? Moving from place to place and we began to experience that transition in different ways, and we began to see different things associated with those different transitions. So yeah, when you move around, you are in transition a lot, but the transition period itself becomes an interesting, teachable moment.
And I would just, I won't talk too much specifically about Botswana since that trip isn't going, but just to talk generally about kind of embracing the unexpected. This is an opportunity for people to really give themselves over to the experience and try to find meaning and joy and value in all the things that happen, including problems with transportation or other kinds of daily inconveniences that you're likely to experience. That then as it was so eloquently said, become real teaching moments for you to think about what your life here is like, and what it's like to be a person living another experience, and how to translate that, and what kind of filter are you using to translate those things, and can you open your heart and mind enough to start thinking of yourself as a citizen of the world instead of a citizen of a particular place. So I think I would just encourage all the applicants to open their hearts and minds in that way and be ready to take what comes.
Let me just say, we're pretty close to wrapping up here, a couple things about the China study tour for those of you that might be interested. We have this will be the 6th year of the program. We've got a pretty well-established set of partnership relationships that we build upon each year, including a very strong relationship with Southwest University. But we spend time in Beijing, in Chongqing, and in Shanghai. And in Beijing, we've got a partnership relationship with Beijing Normal University, so we're on campus there with some lectures and opportunities to meet with graduate students in Beijing. We move on to the largest metropolitan area in the world, Chongqing, with about 33 million people. We're on a campus that's not unlike MSU in the sense that it's a combination of an agricultural university and a normal college that's very, very large and very comprehensive. And so we're there for for a couple of weeks, and then at the end we move on to Shanghai, and we spend a couple of days in Shanghai for some cultural experiences, but also for some things that kind of round out the experience, whether it's experiencing something like General Motors in Shanghai, the big production facility, and the impact of the global economy right there, or traditional Chinese medicine. We had an experience in a traditional medicine hospital in Shanghai, and the students actually experienced some of the treatments this year. So, in those three, very worthwhile.
We have some great volunteers. Okay.
Built-in infectious disease, right?
Right there.
But we're looking at the largest education system in the world and a completely different type of education system, a centralized system that's trying to undergo some change, and the comparison with the U.S. system or Western systems that are of a different policy orientation. And so these two systems that seem to be moving toward each other, we're looking at that, we're looking at the impact of globalization. We're looking at the complexities of a historical system that's based on Confucianism and principles of Confucius, and how that's being translated into the education system now in the modern economy. So aspects of traditionalism versus modernism is another element of this. We have another aspect of the China trip, and that's our partnership with University of Washington. The UW folks have been with us all past 5 years, and so we'll have 4 or 6 students, we think, from the University of Washington, from degree programs there and doctoral programs. And that's another interesting aspect of our program. It's another enhancement to the learning community that we're building, and so we found these to be really useful and valuable. So it's about a 3-week trip. It's long days, pretty intensive. We stay in hotels in each of the 3 cities. We travel by air from Beijing to Chongqing, Chongqing to Shanghai. And we have a pretty strong ground network that we work with while we're over there. I'm happy to answer any questions once you get the materials. Feel free to follow up with me and explore some more.
Any follow-up questions or comments before we conclude?
I think I just want to mention one thing. What I really appreciate being part of the trip is that it nurtured this collaborative culture as a scholar. Because living with 15 different people with different background, interests, and they're all adults, creates, as John mentioned, a very interesting dynamic. And yet, we are given the opportunity to grow together with them and to collaborate in a lot of the things that we do during the trip. And that skill is actually transformative to what we are doing here. So that's very important.
Yes.
I just wanted to say, too, that it was important on our trip, and I think it's important, I've heard from all the trips, that this isn't just a dent in itself. So lots of the students who went on the Indonesia trip are investigating ways to continue to collaborate with institutions, with other graduate students or faculty that they met. We're just at the start of that, of course, because we're all just back. But I think that's a wonderful piece of this, that it isn't just a 2 or 3 week experience that finishes, but that both with your MSU colleagues, you've worked collaboratively and you can continue to collaborate, but also with colleagues in an international context.
That's a real point. I think we had a student from Botswana who went on the study tour. Before she left, she wasn't really thinking about into things international, and subsequent to that experience, they've gone back and they actually do doctoral dissertation work on in Botswana. So there are ways. Certainly, we're not trying to turn all of you into international scholars, but we're trying to illustrate that there are ways in which you can integrate these experiences and ways in which they can impact how you move forward with your academic experience. On that note, we look forward to receiving your applications. I know that there are people who would have liked to be here who are either in classes or teaching or had other conflicts. The information will be coming out on Monday, Monday afternoon, so please be on the lookout for that, and spread the word, and we look forward to receiving your applications and having you as fellows